The lights inside the theater glowed softly as thousands of people waited for the next audition to begin on America's Got Talent. The crowd expected another singer, magician, or comedian, but what they saw instead was a tired-looking village doctor walking slowly onto the stage with worn shoes, humble clothes, and eyes filled with emotion. Even Simon Cowell seemed unsure what to expect. The man introduced himself as Dr. Samuel Reyes, a physician from a poor mountain village where hospitals barely existed and medicine was often impossible to afford. His voice trembled as he explained that he had spent the last 15 years treating sick children, injured farmers, and elderly villagers using only his hands, knowledge, and determination. He spoke about nights without electricity, carrying patients across muddy roads during storms, and performing emergency procedures under candlelight. The audience immediately fell silent, as every word painted a picture of sacrifice and humanity. Unlike most contestants who came seeking fame, this doctor said he came to the stage to share the forgotten struggles of people who had no voice. He explained that music had helped him survive emotionally during the hardest nights in the village clinic. Every time a patient died in his arms or a child cried from pain, he sang quietly to comfort them. That emotional confession alone brought tears to many faces in the audience. The judges leaned forward, sensing that this was not going to be an ordinary audition. The atmosphere inside the theater changed completely, becoming heavier, more emotional, and deeply personal in a way nobody expected. As the audition continued, Dr. Reyes began telling the heartbreaking story of a young girl from his village named Elena, who suffered from a severe infection during a violent storm season. The nearest hospital was nearly 8 hours away, and landslides had destroyed the roads. With no ambulance available, he carried the little girl on his back through rain and mud while her mother walked beside him, crying in fear. He explained how he used handmade bandages, boiled water, and basic tools to keep her alive until they finally reached medical care. While speaking, his hands visibly shook as memories returned to him. The giant screen behind the stage showed photographs of remote villages, tiny wooden houses, and children smiling beside the doctor despite their difficult lives. Many audience members wiped away tears as they listened. Heidi Klum looked visibly emotional, while Sofia Vergara pressed her hand against her heart. Dr. Reyes explained that although he had saved many lives, there were also countless moments when he failed because poverty was stronger than medicine. He admitted that every loss haunted him, especially the children he could not rescue in time. Yet despite those painful experiences, he never abandoned his people. Instead, he continued traveling from home to home, treating villagers for free. He said his dream was not to become rich or famous, but to build a real clinic for the community he loved. By this point, the audience had completely forgotten they were watching a talent competition. It felt more like hearing the life story of a real hero standing bravely under the spotlight. Then came the moment that transformed the entire audition into something unforgettable. Dr. Reyes revealed that he would not perform a magic trick or deliver a speech. He would sing a song he had written for the people of his village. The theater became completely silent as soft piano music began playing in the background. His voice started gently, almost like a whisper, but every lyric carried unbearable pain and hope at the same time. He sang about mothers praying for medicine, fathers working until their bodies collapsed, and children dreaming of a better future beyond the mountains. The raw emotion in his voice made the performance feel deeply real rather than technically perfect. There were moments when his voice cracked from emotion, yet those imperfections made the song even more powerful. Cameras captured audience members openly crying, holding tissues against their faces as the lyrics touched their hearts. Even Howie Mandel appeared stunned by the honesty of the performance. As the song continued, the screen displayed videos of villagers waving toward the camera, smiling proudly at the doctor who represented them on one of the world's biggest stages. Every note seemed filled with years of exhaustion, sacrifice, and compassion. By the final chorus, Dr. Reyes was no longer just singing. He was pouring out the emotional burden he had carried for years. His final line, "If my hands can heal one soul, my heart can heal 1,000 more," echoed through the theater like a prayer. When the music stopped, absolute silence filled the room for several seconds because nobody could immediately process what they had just witnessed. The emotional reaction from the judges became one of the most unforgettable moments in the history of America's Got Talent. Simon Cowell, known worldwide for his harsh criticism and emotionally controlled personality, sat completely speechless. He stared down at the table for several moments before finally speaking in a softer voice than anyone expected. Simon admitted that after years of judging talent competitions, very few performances truly moved him anymore. But this audition had affected him deeply because it came from genuine pain and love rather than performance alone. He told Dr. Reyes that what made him extraordinary was not only his voice, but the life he lived when the cameras were turned off. The audience erupted into applause as Simon continued speaking emotionally about the importance of people who dedicate themselves to helping others without seeking recognition. Sofia Vergara wiped tears from her eyes while saying that the doctor reminded the world what humanity should look like. Heidi Klum described the performance as one of the most heartfelt moments she had ever experienced on television. Then, as the crowd began chanting his name, Simon slowly reached toward the golden buzzer. The entire theater exploded into screams before he even pressed it. Golden confetti burst through the air while Dr. Reyes collapsed to his knees in disbelief, covering his face as tears streamed down his cheeks. The audience stood up instantly, giving him one of the loudest standing ovations of the season. It was not merely applause for a singer. It was respect for a man who had sacrificed his entire life for others. Backstage after the performance, emotions continued overflowing as Dr. Reyes struggled to speak during interviews. He explained that he had almost refused the invitation to audition because he believed his story was too small compared to the talents of other contestants. However, the people of his village convinced him to go, gathering money together so he could afford the trip. Some sold vegetables, others donated small savings, and children even handed him handwritten notes asking him to make the world notice their community. As cameras followed him backstage, viewers saw him holding a tiny photograph of the village clinic inside his jacket pocket. He revealed that the building had leaking roofs, broken beds, and very little medicine, yet it remained the only source of medical help for hundreds of families. Producers and crew members were visibly emotional while listening to him speak. Clips from the audition quickly spread across social media, with millions of viewers around the world praising the doctor's humility and courage. Many people called him a real-life hero rather than simply a contestant. Donations reportedly began pouring into charities connected to rural healthcare projects after the episode aired. News channels discussed how one emotional audition managed to remind millions of viewers about forgotten communities living without proper medical support. Meanwhile, the people back in Dr. Reyes's village gathered around a small television powered by generators to watch the episode together. When Simon pressed the golden buzzer, the entire village reportedly erupted into celebration, cheering and crying as they watched one of their own receive worldwide recognition. For them, it was not just a television moment. It was proof that their struggles finally mattered to the world. Stage.